Hi, this is Nick Williams, and I'm chatting with Richard Barrett. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Fine, in fact, fantastic.
Yeah, you had a lovely wedding, I hear, last month or the month before
Yep.
in Italy, and you're still in the love and the peace of that.
Yeah, I'm still living in the magical and mystical bubble of that whole thing. It was really terrific. Yeah, well, actually, a shift in consciousness, I think. It was really magical.
Great. And our paths have been crossing for a couple of decades, and I've always been fascinated by your work with values and the evolution of human consciousness. So for people that don't know you, that will be watching this, can you just give them an insight into your work and what your passion is and what you've been up to for the last few decades?
Yeah, well, you nailed it. My passion is the evolution of human consciousness and how to promote that. And what I've been really working on for the past 2 decades is how to measure consciousness by mapping values to a model called the 7 levels of consciousness. Now, I've extended that model more recently into the 7 stages of psychological development. And that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about in this evening. I'm going to be laying out the 7 stages of psychological development as they've been presented in my book called Evolutionary Coaching.
Great. So, our paths have been crossing, and I thought it would be great to give you an opportunity to toast the launch of your new book, Evolutionary Coaching. So it's kind of an evening with you that we're hosting. And what are people likely to get out of it, do you think? They're going to get a chance to do a couple of exercises and meet each other? What is your if you had a goal, what would it be that people take away from spending this evening with you?
Yes, well, we will be doing some exercises, and people will be able to identify what stage of psychological development they've reached, and also what stages of development where they still have unmet needs which were holding them back from their development. So we'll be doing that. We'll be working interactively with pairs, and also I'll be picking out 2 or 3 people and working with them.
2 or 3 volunteers.
Well, yeah, volunteers. I'm sure there'll be volunteers. But actually, there'll be much more than that, because I'll be talking about some of my other books. One of them being What My Soul Told Me, another one being my most recent one, which is The Metrics of Human Consciousness. I'm also working on another new book at the moment called A New Psychology of Human Well-Being, and I want to be talking about that too. So it's not just about coaching in the evening. It's really about the evolution of human consciousness in the big picture, not just individual, but also our collective evolution.
Wonderful. And just give us a few tips from your book, because everyone who's coming to this talk will take away a copy of your book, Evolutionary Coaching. Why did you write that book, and what do you want people to get out of kind of immersing themselves in your ideas there?
Well, one of the reasons I wrote that book is that when I looked around at all the books on coaching, there was no framework for the movement through different levels of psychological development. So coaches take people where they're at and ask them what their goals are and then help them to move forward. Well, your goals are actually dependent on which stage of psychological development you're at. And these stages vary over decades, over your lifetime. And so if you know this background information, you have much more information to work with when you're working with your clients, or even just information for yourself. You don't have to be a coach to read this book. And so I wrote just so there would be a framework that coaches could use for working with their clients. So it applies to all types of coaching.
Brilliant. And so you're passionate about helping people evolve their own consciousness, really, aren't you, from fear to love, whether they're the coach or the coachee. And you've done a huge amount of work with leaders over the years about evolving kind of leadership consciousness, haven't you?
Yes, that came through the work we did with the Barrett Values Center, which was mapping values to organizational levels of consciousness. And now we have a team of 18 people processing these surveys that we do all over the world.
Great.
And,
sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you there because we're going to run out of recording time in a moment. But thank you for taking the time, Richard, to have this conversation. And I look forward to seeing you on the night and everybody who's watching this coming along and enjoying the evening too. So thank you very much indeed. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.